Hi there, it's Dan here from Flexxable, and today we're going to talk about the hiring process for new hires in a pay-per-lead agency. Let's get stuck in. Okay, so the reason why I want to talk to you about this today is we're hiring inside our own agency. We've just said yes to a new apprentice, and it's been a while since we've hired. It made me think about some stuff that I've learned over the years and mistakes that I've made and stuff that I've learned from that I want to share with you. So if we start way back at kind of the job description process, we want to make sure when we're doing the job description that we have, like, for me, you know, we can all put the details of the jobs in there or whatever, and I'm not going to kind of talk about how to write that, but there's one tip that I have inside the job description is to put a little kind of hidden trick inside the application process. So if they want to be able to apply, they need to be able to follow instructions, which is what we want. So we want them to PDF up their resume or their CV and send it over to us, right? Because the number one thing I want when I hire someone is to make sure that they can follow instructions. All right, so if they fall at the first hurdle, which about 80% of the people do, because they're all like copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste when they're applying for jobs. If they haven't taken the time to read that job description, PDF up, and it's usually a PDF with a certain subject line. If they don't get that perfect, then 80% of the people are gone straight away. All right, and there's only 20% left, which then takes you on to the next process. So it's a really good little trick that I've learned over the years that's going to help you save some time filtering through job applications. So once you're able to get the application through and they've put a good subject line in and they've PDF'd up their CV, you know that they're decent and they're ready for a phone call, which for me is just a quick call to make sure that they can hold a sentence together. They sound friendly, they sound optimistic, and they've got that tone of voice which makes you think they're keen to work here. All right. Because one thing that I like when I hire is always problem-solving ability, is always that they can follow instructions, is always that they're keen and happy and excited to kind of get going in their new job role. Okay, and you can usually tell that with a quick phone call out of the gate. So once they pass the CV trick, they follow the quick 15-minute call to make sure they're cool, and then after that we send them a test task. All right. And there's plenty of, if they're a media buyer, you can make them look through some data and kind of come up with a good hook or an angle. For this particular person, she's going to come in with our kind of blogs and copywriting and stuff like that, right? So we wanted to make sure that she could write well, all right? So I think we've probably seen one of the interview tasks. It's a famous one where the interviewer asks the interviewee to sell me this pencil. All right, we know the answer to that, of course, is do you use a pencil or a pen? Is always the first answer that the question that you want to ask back. That's the way to answer that question. But not many people understand that. And I want to see how they go and what their thought process is and whether or not they've just got the right idea when it comes to being able to write and sell a pencil. They're not always going to get it right, but usually you can tell with the way that they write that they're someone that's going to be a good fit for that particular role. So we did that. Then when they came in for a face-to-face interview, then I started asking whether or not they are, if they know much about what we do, tell us a bit about what you know about us. And then I kind of get an understanding of whether or not they've researched and had a look at our YouTube channel, figured out what we do, understand the pay-per-lead model, all of that type of stuff. And if they pass that, then they get off with the job. In my opinion, it's kind of 4 to 5 steps where they've done enough for me and they're ready to get started, all right? And one thing I was doing today, because I've just asked my assistants to start onboarding this girl, but one thing that we need to make clear when they come on board is what their expectations are inside this business. And we call it an expectations document, okay? Because what happens if people come in to a business and they don't know what their role is and they haven't got specific things that they need to do, then what happens is they get very disorientated. They don't know what they're doing. They haven't got a purpose. They haven't got goals. And they just kind of, some people can be in the business for 2 to 4 weeks without doing anything productive at all. So the next step for me, and I've just asked my team to start putting this together, is is to do a one-page expectations document, all right? And this is their expectations inside the business. You know, it's kind of generic stuff like be on time, you know, be courteous, be a team member, you know, all of the stuff that you, if you're in a sporting team and you had a teammate, they need to have the same kind of qualities as what they would as a team member. I'm a sports person, right? So I always try and use my experience there with people that come into my team. That's always, you can't go wrong if you relate it back to sport. And then what you want to do is if you want to have specifics, right? Because too many people come into a job and as I was saying before, they don't know what they're doing, all right? They come in and the team hasn't told them what they need to do, and they just mess around, and as I said, they get disorientated. So I want to have, you know, if she's going to be the blog person, she's got 2 videos that she needs to turn into a blog each week. Boom, okay, that's black and white, it's in there, and she needs to do that. The second thing is the third thing might be, second or third thing, she needs to learn SEO, okay, and start like basic SEO and optimizing the blog post for on-page SEO, all right, to make sure we're found for relevant keywords, okay. The next thing could be distribute the blog posts, the videos that you've turned into a blog post to the 7, we call them our 7 pillars, or however many pillars we've got, to make sure that everyone's seeing our content, all right. And you know, it could be that there's some other stuff they need to do as well that's a little bit more generic inside of the business, but it's not like a huge document that goes through in minute detail of everything they need to do, because in my experience that never happens. They start with something, they get good at something inside a business, and then we send them more of that, and we cut out stuff that they're not so good at. So having a basic one-page expectations document that you can do every quarter or twice per year that evolves with their employee is really helpful, because when it comes to appraisals and things like that, you want to run through this expectations document and make sure that they're ticking all of those boxes, all right, and they're actually performing in their role. If I can look at, you know, probably the most, they're all important parts of the process, right? But once they do get inside the business and they're ready to start working and performing for you, then you want to give them a clear expectations document, which is usually just a one-pager. That's a bullet point that's quite broad and generic, but also specific on what their role is. And if you can get that down, you're going to have an employee that's coming in, that's hungry, talented, really wants to work for you, has got a great attitude, can follow instructions, and also has some guidelines set out for them to get started. And then you're off to the races, okay? It's a really simple process to follow. I hope you've enjoyed it today. And I guess I'll see you soon. But before I go, if you have enjoyed this video, please give us a like. If you've got any comments about our hiring process, then please comment below, and I'll be more than happy to help. And the last thing is, so you're the first to know when we create new content, please subscribe to our channel. Much appreciated. Speak to you soon.